Right, me hearties. So, please ignore my messy desktop. So here's my Project 2 folder. These are my 3 sketches, and no, these are not actually my sketches. I grabbed them off the interwebs, but anyway, these are 3 sketches. I've got them all labeled. I've got them in a subfolder called Sketches. I'm going to go into Adobe Illustrator and start a new file. So let's work in inches. Let's do 5 by 5. And by the way, if you hit the tab key, this is me hitting the tab key, you can move from window to window. So I'm going to get 3 artboards, 5 by 5. Let's work in RGB. I want nice bright colors. And this time around, let's work at 150 DPI. I'm going to be doing a lot of special effects, a lot of filters. These files are going to get big in a hurry. So let's make it easy on ourselves and cut the res down a little bit. Hit create. These are my 3 artboards. I come over here. In case this isn't open, you're going to go to A for artboards. And then I'm going to come up here to the submenu. And I'm going to say rearrange all artboards. I would like them to go in a straight line. And this is where I can put a little more or a little less space between them, just so I can see them in the sequence that I'm going to do them. And I will hit place, and I'll go to my desktop. Where's my desktop? Where are you, desktop? There I am, desktop. And I made a folder called Project 2, Sketches. Now, I'm going to put my finger on the Shift key, 1, 2, 3, and hit place, 1, 2, 3. And as I said, I did not draw these. And finger on the Shift key, take that down, finger on the Shift key, scale that down, get it to fit pretty much the way I want it to. Finger on the Shift key, scale that down. All right. And if I go into my layers, L for layers, there you are. That's my scan layer. And just as a reminder, if I double click on the layer, I can dim the images if I want to. So some of you have some pretty complicated sketches going on here. It might be easier in the long run. For example, if I was going to do this sketch, let me lock that down. I might go in and do 2 sketches. I might lay a piece of tracing paper on top of this and just trace out all of the discrete paths and leave out all the shading and the excess stuff. And then you can that would leave me the opportunity to go in and simply trace things out. And then I could swap in the more complicated scan later on, or I could use it as a guide and just have it next to me as I worked. It's up to you. Some of your sketches are very complex, which I appreciate very much. When you get them into the file though, if you have trouble seeing things, if you have trouble being able to distinguish where the closed path goes, consider retracing in a simple way on a piece of tracing paper and popping that into the file. All right, and so this is my file, and now I can start tracing things out. And just as a reminder, I showed you this in class. I'm just going to click and I'll type a C, finger on the Shift key, make the C much larger. I'm going to find my typeface, whatever my typeface is. Let's see. What C do I think this is? Let me try. Let's try Avenue. It's close enough to be getting on with. So if I decide that I want this to be a piece of art instead of a piece of type, right now it's a piece of editable type. So I can go in and type with it. But if I decided I wanted it to be a vector path that I could work with, I go to Type, Create Outlines. And now if I do Command Y, you can see it is in fact a vector path. I can use the Pathfinder tool to intersect with it. I can cut it apart. I can add to it. I can do things that you can do to a vector path that you can't do to type. Just remember that once you've done that, you can't go back. So maybe what I would do is, before I made it into a vector path, I would stash a copy down here, and then I would get started. All right, that was a bit of a recap. Try and bring in your project file on Wednesday, and try and start tracing out at least one of these. Just one, if that's what you can get to. Because we're going to start working with filters on Wednesday, and I would like you to have something to experiment with. All right, Slack me with questions.